This episode of the Haunting You podcast is brought to you by VFX. Scare, entertain, and promote with VFX products. Learn more at vfxcreates.com.
Coming to you live from the Chamber of Haunters Studios, this is Haunting You. I am your host, Leslie Reed.
And I'm Keoni Hutton. Welcome, everyone, back to the Haunting You podcast. And guess what? It is October! Oh, my God. It's October 14th, to be precise, when we're recording this. And we are, well, we're open, for starters. We have had 2 weekends, quote unquote, 2 weekends where the grounds have been open. Let's talk about that before we go too far. Because it's been a challenging season thus far. So we intended to open on September 26th. We had 4 days of rain leading up to September 26th. And so I was very, very behind. We pushed opening a week. To start the season, we pushed opening a week. So it went great, let me tell you. Decided instead to open on October 3rd. And holy shit, we actually had a family come out for opening night.
That's awesome.
It honestly was kind of nice because it gave us a chance to beta test kind of what,
how did
what we had.
I mean, big question.
Ghost hunt?
How did the ghost hunt go? Did they do it?
They did do it.
Work?
It did work. So
okay, I'm encouraged.
I mentioned it runs on RFID technology, right?
Yeah.
And so newer phones, you can just hold the phone up to the ghost and it will automatically open up the website for you, right?
Right.
Initiate the capture sequence, give you the code, and you can use the code to decode the message, right?
Right.
If you don't have that, it's a little more complicated. If you don't have it, there's a QR code on the ghost hunting card that you can scan. It'll take you to the web page, and then you have to enter a word that's on each ghost. And those words are like witch, or bones, or skeleton. They're all, spooky Halloween-y words.
More time.
That's it. It's more time.
Intensive.
It's a little more steps.
Clunky?
Clunky is a good word for it. That's a great word for it. And so it was a little bit difficult trying to describe that to this family as they were trying to do it. So I ended up helping them with my phone because mine RFID. I have the RFID, right, and kind of went around that way, right? And that worked out great.
I'm trying to think of how old a phone.
I don't know.
I have an older phone.
Can you pay by tapping with your phone? Because that's really
I've never tried.
That's the same technology though. If it has that capability, then it will work. If it doesn't have that capability, I don't think it's going to work. And you're stuck.
If I search my settings and I search RFID, nothing comes up.
What phone do you have?
I have an Apple SE.
I don't even know what that is. How old is that?
I'm 99% sure that I got this in 2020 during the shutdown.
Okay, that's actually not that old,
years.
but that probably is.
But it was an older model. It was
an older model in 2020.
But it was not the brand new model.
Yeah. So
that's the only one that's not enormous.
I get that. I totally get that. That's one of the reasons I kind of like the Pixel. I've got the Pixel 9 now, and it's a little bit large. Yeah. See, I can't hold mine between thumb and forefinger.
Well, and not even just that. That.
Well, that I can do.
I can barely do it with Allen's. All of the new iPhones, they're just these massive blocks.
Hey, Les, look, it's Inception. That reflection is crazy. For all you listeners who can't see the video, I'm just holding up my phone and I realized that Les and I reflected in it, and it's a really good reflection.
Yeah, that's not half bad.
Wait. Oh, my phone turned back on.
Hold on. Let me do this.
Yeah, can we do I want to say there we go. Reflection Inception.
Okay, we're easily amused. Just in case you guys weren't aware of that after however many years we've been doing this. We calculated it the last time, and I don't remember. So
Many.
we're easily amused.
We
But
are, in
that
fact,
means
easily amused.
that you guys get
Fine.
benefit from the fact that we're a bunch of idiots.
I hope that is entertaining at least.
Even though
Anyway,
you can't see any of what we
even
just
though
did.
you can't see anyone, maybe I'll post it on our socials.
You put it on
We'll
Instagram.
We'll see.
We'll flip that out and Instagram it.
Anyway, so where were we? Holy shit! Oh, we were talking about the ghost hunting,
rain, and ghost hunting, and clunky,
Yeah,
and
we were talking about
RFID,
it's
and then
a
I was
little
trying to
bit
figure out
clunky.
if my phone could do it.
So I ended up, in order to make it less clunky, I ended up changing some things. So added a light. I added a couple of lights because they were having a very hard time reading the instruction sign that I had printed out.
Okay.
And so I put a white light over that to help illuminate. Plus, it serves as a giant fucking weenie. It's so freaking bright that like your eye immediately drawn to it.
Good.
Yeah, exactly, which is exactly what we want, right? And then
yeah, I mean, we want them to. It's supposed to be a ghost hunt, but it's not supposed to be a where the.
You're not supposed to hunt for the ghost hunt. You're supposed to hunt for the ghosts.
Yeah, so it's a ghost hunt. It's not a where the fuck is Waldo.
Exactly.
In your backyard,
exactly.
Front yard, side yard, all your yards.
All the yards. So I think that helped significantly. And then I also ended up moving ghosts around a little bit. I've discovered that like the area I have to work in is actually significantly smaller than I expected it to be. And that's primarily because I don't want people walking in the grass. This is not me being a cagey old man yet. I promise. There is a practical reason. I have cords running freaking everywhere.
It's a safety practicality, not
100% a safety thing.
Stay off my grass practicality.
It's stay off my grass for your own safety, damn it. So I've got chains up that block off all of the different scenes that people can come around and see. Mm-hmm. And so most of the ghosts are just hanging from posts on those scenes. I've got one hanging out of a tree. I've got one up on the house. I've got a couple on the haunted house facade. I put one right next to the instructions so that they could test it right there while they're standing by the instructions, which
that's good.
Worked out beautifully. Like that was a stroke of genius, not to, toot my own horn.
Toot your own horn.
Yeah, exactly. But that was a good call. And then I put one kind of hidden behind the sign for Sanguine Creek Estate. So the sign's all the way out in the front before they like enter the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the backside of that sign. So if they're not, so they actually have to look around to find that last one.
Nice.
Eye of Newt. Great. It's perfect. It was just obscure enough that even with a couple of letters missing, they were super confused by it. So like but they could not find one ghost and the one on the sign. Mm-hmm. And that one is one of the E's and I. So it was EY blank of Newt. Okay. And at that point there you got it. So I think that was perfect. Loved that. So yeah, overall, I think the ghost hunt has been a success. So that was the first day. That was the only family that came that first night. And then the second night, we had our neighbor throws a big Halloween party every year. And a ton of the people who go to that Halloween party came out, particularly the kids came out, explored the grounds, played the ghost hunting. I had to help them because most of them were too young. They don't have phones. And so they use my phone, but they really enjoyed the ghost hunting. They thought it was a blast. I gave them the prizes. So it's been a hit.
Awesome.
If we can get more people out here, it'll be great. But so far, we have had only one food donation, and that was 3 cans of food. And it was like carrots, beets, and green beans. It's a start. It
could be worse.
To be fair, last weekend, we had rain on Friday.
You've been
rain
weathered
on
all
Saturday,
the hell.
Rain on Sunday, rain on Monday. We had rain for 4 freaking days straight over the holiday weekend when I planned to get a ton of shit on the haunt done. Yeah. Holiday for us federal workers. Holiday for us and federal workers. I was the only one in my family who had the day off.
Yeah, I started driving into work and I was like, why is traffic amazing? I was like, oh, right. Because it's Indigenous Persons Day.
Yep. Kids were back at school. Wife was
Columbus.
Working. I had it off. And so, yeah, I was doing haunt things. But let me tell you about this last weekend. because I had a lot of fun this last weekend. It was my birthday weekend, and Jazz came down to visit, not because of my birthday, but she had other stuff going on in the area, and it just worked out because holiday weekend, right?
Uh-huh.
And so she and I went thrifting on Friday, found some cool stuff for the haunt. I found particularly for the doctor's office. So I found a lamp that has antlers on the base. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. And it was like $6. Like, it was a great find. I loved it. And then at Goodwill, I found a kid's microscope kit. So we're gonna have a microscope sitting on his desk. And then I picked up a bunch of just like random hardcover books that I can, put on the bookshelf behind him from Goodwill, because they're like $1 a piece at Goodwill, right?
Yeah.
But like one of them was The Rivers of Peril, and another one, like I tried to find like spooky titles or something, right? Except for this one that was in some Eastern European language that I do not recognize, but is definitely an Eastern European language. And I like that because like people may, if people notice it, they'll be like, what does that say? And I think that'll be fun.
So it's in Cyrillic?
No, it's not Cyrillic. It's English letters, but the way they're put together, definitely Eastern European.
Let me see.
Oh yeah, like I have it here with me. Do you want me to go
get the
get
pictures I sent you?
I did get the pictures you sent me. They were all much more alike than I expected.
Yeah, Copilot is not really for image creation.
For all the listeners, Les was trying to get inspiration for the doctor's office to give me some ideas on how to decorate it, right? And talk about what you use to generate these while I try to find them.
I wish I had the prompt in front of me.
That's what I really want to know. Like, what did you use for the prompt?
Yeah, I'll send you the
prompt.
You
said Copilot's AI generative.
Yeah. So Microsoft Copilot is their AI thing. They can do image generation, but again, I haven't done a lot with it, and it was, well, very, very limited. So I started off with
4 different pictures. All came out very
pretty much the same. Like, the first one was generate an image of a 1890s doctor's office with elements of chinoiserie and the occult.
I was curious how you ended up with like a pentagram and a circle in a frame behind his desk.
Yeah, that's their definition of occult. And all of the vases, that's their definition of chinoiserie.
I was gonna say those seemed like, I don't know, like Ming Dynasty or
that's chinoiserie. It's that era's aping of Chinese motifs.
But
again, very limited.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, add more medical stuff.
I like the one.
So they put everything on the floor.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. There's one that just has like images of the human body, like out of a medical textbook or something, just spread around very neatly on the floor and on the desktop and pinned up to the walls.
So my response to that was, put the medical shit on the walls.
So that's how they ended up on the walls.
That's how it ends up on the walls. So the fourth one, I was like, all right, I'll try something a little bit different. Generate a Victorian era haunted asylum physician office. And it basically did the exact same thing, except made everything look kind of moldy and decrepit. So I'm curious as to what Google Pixel is going to generate if you put those in.
So describe the prompt one more time.
All right. 1890s.
Show me an 1890s
physician's office.
Okay.
With elements of the occult and chinoiserie.
Yeah, spell that one for me.
CHINOISERRIE.
Got it. With elements of the occult and chinoiserie. Should I just leave it there?
Yeah, that's where I started.
Okay. Let's see what Google's Pixel Studio comes up with.
Which I cannot have, apparently, because I have an Apple, not a Google.
Interesting.
I didn't really try that hard because I was at work, but
Well, not that, but like
okay. Very, very similar.
very, very similar. I like so it's got like
A little more
red.
Victorian.
It definitely looks a little bit more Victorian. It's got the bases and what do you call these things?
You're asking. Oh, the folding panels.
Yeah, like folding panels, like that you change behind.
Yeah, it's hell.
Indeed. I find it interesting that skull on the desk in both your Copilot and Pixel. He appears to have an astrolabe on his desk in mine, as well as was that
Shoji?
What she said. An uncomfortable number of watches and clocks. Some incense is burning.
Is it stuck in the skull?
It is, in fact, stuck in the skull. How did you know it was stuck in the skull? Did yours do that too?
No, I have no idea. Actually, I don't think so. Because, okay, so all these AI generating, they take everything that everybody's done, that they have access to, and whatever database they've been linked to.
Yep.
And they're pulling from the most common elements and tropes. So it's literally, it's the AI version, digital version of a kid just starting to write their own stories, and more specifically to write their own fan fiction.
Okay.
Everything is tropic. Everything is, I see this, so therefore we're going to put this in.
Yeah.
So like it's a compilation of the very, very worst and most stereotypical elements of bad fan fiction. And I say that, and I say that specifically about bad fan fiction because there is some amazing fan fiction out there. And hey, it's a different angle. That's nice. I actually like that one better.
I kind of like it too.
Yeah.
So I changed the prompt a little bit. Show pages from medical textbooks on the walls.
Hey, and they're not just like do.
Yeah, right. These actually look like pinned up deliberately.
Pinned up. Well, not pinned up deliberately. Pinned up by a guy who's thinking, not being precise. It's 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters.
Yeah, exactly.
So, again, I'm not knocking on fan fiction as a rule because fan fiction, I love it. I read a lot of it. Can't tell you how many stories I've started, and their basis is inspired by, something else. But so much of what we have and what we're getting from these AI generations is really just bad.
It's
very derivative. It's very generic. It's very much, here's the trope.
Sure, but it's also like not a bad starting place.
No, that's where, again, it's like when Wikipedia first started to become a tool, but people were trying to cite, like at college, you're trying to cite Wikipedia.
Yeah.
You don't cite Wikipedia. You look at Wikipedia to get the information, and especially as it started to really grow, Wikipedia is now, if anytime I start a research project, I start with Wikipedia.
Because it has a bunch of links to sources.
But because it has links to sources. So it gives me the baseline, and which is the one thing I wish the AI would do is, hey, I'm pulling all of these image pieces together from all of these places, and here's how you can go find it and get more information and figure it out.
Sure.
But that's asking way too much of, technology. And
we're not there yet.
People and developers, etc.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
And, AI would actually have to start paying for the references that they're using, and, well, they can't afford to do that.
I'm going to cut you off because you could rant about this for the entire hour, and we have other things to talk about.
Yes, I could, and yes, I will. So, yes, AI-generated images are a useful tool as a place to start to get ideas. And again, as we're creating haunts, a lot of the things that bring people in and can make them uncomfortable are the tropes that are so common in all art and imagery that we have related to what we do.
Well said.
Okay.
Well said.
I'm done now.
Thank you. That's actually like kind of perfect because like in spite of the rain this week, so had nobody come out this weekend because it was raining all weekend, which was, disappointing and completely expected. So despite that, I was able to get a ton of work done on the haunt. Why? because I have tents up. And oh my God, Leslie, I love my new freaking tent.
Good.
It is a 20 by 20.
Okay.
So square tent.
Mhm.
It is peaked in, kind of an A-frame shape. And it has 1.5 inch
Pyramid or true A-frame?
A-frame. Not A-frame, not pyramid.
Okay.
So square, 2 flat sheets, like peak in the middle.
Okay.
A-frame. Yeah.
Okay.
But so it has 1.5 inch metal pipe to support everything. And like that is so much heftier than than most tents I'm able to find for cheap on Marketplace is really what it comes down to. This was just a damn lucky find. A guy had purchased it for his like kid's birthday and needed to get rid of it. He had also bought it off Marketplace and just needed it gone. So he was asking like $100 for it, which is, let me tell you,
amazing.
As now I'm going to say experienced secondary tent buying person, that's an insane price. Like most tents that I find for that kind of price are either small,
flimsy.
10 by 10, like, the pop-up tents, like you would take to a sporting event, or just incredibly flimsy. And that's a problem I had. So I had 3 tents set up this year. One was the 20 by 20, this one that I absolutely adore. I had another that was it's got to be a 20, maybe it's a 10 by 15 or something like that. A little bit smaller. And it has inch pipe that I have broken in the past.
Yeah.
It holds up fine, but I did break it last year when too much water accumulated on it and one bar just broke, right? It happens.
Yep. Water is heavy.
7.5 pounds per gallon. And then
8.
Depends if it's salt or fresh.
Everybody rounds up.
Depends if it's salt or fresh. Then I had a 20 by 10 with like 3/4 inch pipe. Yeah. And that one was incredibly light.
Like that's when it's like, I'm a strong man. I can bend the bars.
Yeah. Actually, you're not far off. That tent is incredibly light and very flimsy. And if it is not tied down, really any tents need to be tied down properly to make sure that wind does not grab them and cause them to fly. Because what is a tent, really? It's a sail.
It's a giant kite.
It's a giant kite. It will catch all the wind and go off flying somewhere. So anytime you're using a tent, you have to strap it down somehow very effectively.
To something that is not going to...
Something that will also not leave. Yes.
Not fly off.
Correct. So anytime I start my builds, the first thing I do is put up the tents because I need them in place because I'm going to build underneath them, right? And trying to set up a tent with all the walls in the way, impossible. So tents go up first and then everything goes underneath the tents. So I had all the tents up for several days as I'm going through the process of starting to get things set up. And I just was not fast enough. And weather came through and picked up my flimsy tent. And when I came home one day, half of said flimsy tent was on top of the other tents. Like it had picked it up and it had bent it in half. And so now it looked like it was rearing up, ready to attack, except that the rearing up part was attacking one of the other tents.
Cannibalistic tents.
Cannibalistic tents. So I pulled it off of there. And I was like, okay, I can deal with this. I see just 1 or 2 bars that are bent, one plastic bracket broke. I can use a bunch of band clamps. I can fix this. I can salvage it. No problem. Except there was bad weather for that next day as well. And when I came home from work the following day, it was twisted beyond all recognition. Ruh-roh. So I've lost a tent. Is really the thesis of what I'm trying to say here. And there's no salvaging it. Went on Facebook Marketplace again, immediately like, hey, there's a couple of tents in the area that I know and could replace this one. They're about the same quality, but $250.
Oof.
Which is a bit much. For what it is, it's a bit much. I would pay $250 if I could find another 20 by 20 of this tent that I adore. I would drop $250 in a heartbeat. I will not pay $250 for one of these. So I contact the person, and I tried to use the line that I have used reasonably successfully on some other acquisitions this season. Hi, I'm running a charity haunted house in Chesapeake Beach. Here's our website. If you were willing to give us a discount on whatever it is you're selling, we would happily include you as a sponsor on our website. You or your business. And honestly, I've had some takers for it.
Yeah.
I've gotten a number of free, mostly doors. I've gotten a ton of doors for free. I got some lights discounted. I don't remember what else I've picked up this year. I picked up a lot of shit.
Up lots of things.
Anyway, I have been reasonably successful.
Leverage.
She came back and said, I'm sorry, I'm firm on the price. My husband is a double amputee, and I'm selling off stuff to get him a wheelchair ramp. You know what?
Done. Not gonna argue with that one.
I can't argue with that. Like, I feel for you. I can't help you because I can't. I'm not going to pay that for this.
Well, and you're not qualified to offer to build the ramp.
That as well. But also, I basically told her, I'm sorry, we don't have the money to afford that right now, but best of luck trying to find a seller or trying to find a buyer.
Yeah.
That was the best I could do. I felt bad for her and him, and it was an awkward situation all around.
Yeah.
But that really brings me to the topic that I wanted to address today, and that is weatherproofing your haunt. Because
not Leslie ranting about AI,
but weatherproofing your haunt. Because no matter what happens, you are not going to have good weather for an entire month. And so what you put up has to be able to stand up to the weather. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges that we have faced so far and the lessons that we are taking away. So as a reminder,
and also, it's also going to be about the weather that you have in your area.
That too, because fucking bomb cyclone.
So here we've had some rain, had a couple of days of wind, but not really. Mostly we've just had major temperature swings.
Yeah. It's also not uncommon though in Colorado for it to be snowing on Halloween. So
this is true.
It's a possibility that you have to plan for, because if you don't plan for it, you are going to get hammered.
Oh yeah. Hands down.
So let's talk about it. I want to really start with the tents because that is where a lot of my problems have been, but also a lot of where my successes have been. So the biggest issue I have with tents here in Maryland is rain. We already talked about it. Rain is heavy. Water is heavy. And if it collects on top of that tent, that is a lot of extra weight that tent is having to bear. On top of that, if you get a big storm, there could very easily be strong winds that will come and pick up your tent. This weekend, we had 14 knots sustained, 28 knots gusting, which is a fairly significant.
And for those of us who are not nautical.
Oh, fuck. I need, what, you want me to do math? Google.
Those of us who are not of the nautical persuasion.
Knots in miles per hour. No, I don't want the Adobe Chrome. What are you doing to me? Or Adobe for Chrome. 32 miles an hour. We had 32 mile an hour winds this weekend. Gusting to 32 miles an hour. So what did I do? I did a couple of things. One, I strapped down my tents. I build on my driveway. It is a fairly large driveway. It is pavement. There are not places where I can be hammering in stakes to keep my tents down. So what do the professionals do? The professionals will either use large concrete blocks and strap them down to large concrete blocks or water barrels. I have heard that large concrete blocks are preferable to water barrels. You'd have to talk to a tent professional to get more details on why, but there you go. That is what I've heard. I don't have either of those. So what do I do instead? I strap it down to my haunt. I have all of the walls set up underneath it, and all of those walls are screwed together or screwed to each other using hinges, door hinges. Take a look, take a moment. If you're inside your house, find the nearest door to you. Take a look at the hinge that is on this end of that door. It's a herky freaking hinge. It's usually like a piece of 1/8-inch steel or similar, but it is a thick freaking hinge. I use that with a 1 1/4 inch screw screwed into top and bottom of each one of the doors that I'm using as wall panels. And that is the structure of my haunt. All of those doors are tied together, and I use bracing throughout, which is just, 2x4s laid across the top to make sure the walls are nice and rigid, particularly those walls that end and don't connect to anything else. And so the entire structure of the haunt is all tied together, and it is basically one single piece. So what did I do this year?
Your entire haunt is now tied to a bunch of giant sails.
My entire haunt is now tied to a bunch of giant sails, but it is heavy enough to keep those sails in place. So I took webbing, put it up and around the bars on the tent, screwed it into the doors all around the tent. Anywhere where I had a good connection point, piece of webbing, couple of screws, and now the tents are tied down to the haunt. They're not going anywhere with the wind. Unless we have a tropical storm, I have a plan for that.
Well, at that point, all bets are off.
All bets are off at that point. Absolutely. So wind is now taken care of. I got to deal with rain. I have not found a good solution for rain short of poking a hole in the bottom of the tent and just letting it drain off. So what do I do instead? Any guesses, Les?
Poke many holes in the tents?
I do not poke holes in the tents because I want them to actually be waterproof. That is the purpose of the tent, right? So I go out there with a spare 2x2, and every so often, get everything super taut, but every so often I'll go out and just anywhere water's accumulating, poke it, push the water off.
Yeah. Well, and that's the case. If you are in a place where there's lots of rain, you are doing it outdoors and you're running tents like we are. If you know places on your tents that are apt to collect water, to make it easier for yourself to find them and, either brace them out or try and find ways to do tie outs, mark them with like a little duct tape or, gaff tape on the underside of the tent. So that way, hey, I'm running through in 30 seconds to try and knock as much water off of my tents as possible. Yeah. And just shoving 2x4s up, and you can at least do it strategically.
Sure. There are also some really cool products that are sold by places like Granger or McMaster Carr that are basically flexible funnels with a hose coming down off the middle. And like the idea of these things are you can
impromptu gutters.
Kind of impromptu gutter, but they're usually they're more like funnels, but they're flexible funnels. So I would use these on ships all the time if we had like a bad leak from a saltwater pipe that we can't repair immediately because we have to take down the system to do that. So we would hang one of these around it, and then we can direct the water where it needs to go. Couple of bungee cords is all it takes to hang these. Mm-hmm. If you have a tent that is going to be up for an extended period of time and a ton of rain, it might be worth putting a small hole in that tent, hanging one of these underneath it to give yourself drainage and an impromptu gutter to get rid of the water.
Or again, if you don't want to put in your tent, depending on how and the tents that most likely going to be using, your rain is most likely going to collect along your top bars and at your corners.
I disagree. Definitely depends on the design of the tent. Your corners are where the water is going to tend to collect.
So creating impromptu gutters to redirect the water as it comes down so it does not sit and it has a place to go immediately is going to help.
And when you're setting up the tent, get the tent as tight as you possibly can, because the tighter it is, the less water will have an opportunity to collect.
Yep.
It's still going to. My best advice to you is periodic inspections and go out there with a stick and push off water as it's raining.
Every so often, just go poke it.
Go poke it every so often.
Poke it with a stick.
I've got nothing better, but it works. I came this morning before I left to work. I went out there and poked it with a stick. This afternoon when I came home from work, I went out there and poked it with a stick. And now we're past the rain. Hopefully we're good for a few days, at least until next weekend.
In doubt, poke your haunt with a stick.
Poke your haunt with a stick. That is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I would also like to point out, I'm running on very little sleep right now.
I feel you. So strap down your tents. Keep the rain off in order to prevent excess weight from collapsing said tents. Any other thoughts on tents before we move on? Oh, what if we have something that I'm going to say exceeds the design rating of said tent like a bomb cyclone or a tropical cyclone or tropical storm, whatever.
To the best of your ability and with the basis in reality as much as possible, watch your weather. And if you absolutely are going to get hit with something and there's no way that you can further weatherproof your haunt, take down and take out everything that is crucial.
Or has the potential to become
or has
a projectile.
The potential to become projectile, to be damaged. Basically, your weatherproofing is removal of hazardous objects or easily damaged objects.
And that's why, when we were talking about the facade design earlier this season, anytime I'm building anything, I'm building either that it's strong enough to withstand the weather that we might see, or it's easy enough to take apart that I can take it down if we're going to get bad weather.
Yep.
Those are the standards you have to keep in mind as you're building. Is it strong enough to survive the weather, or can I take it down quickly if I need to in the event of weather? And on that note, how are we watching the weather to see where it comes? Couple of apps that I really like. Weather Underground, wunderground.com. In my experience,
not the 1970s terrorist organization.
Not that. Yes, not that. Weather Underground is, in my personal opinion, if you want
some really, really fun reading, Weather Underground, that's an interesting group.
Hysterical. In my opinion, Weather Underground is one of the best weather apps out there. It tends to be the most accurate, especially like comparing between my wife and I and our weather apps. I use Weather Underground. She uses whatever comes with the iPhone.
It's the same. I use Wonderground. Ellen usually uses Apple Weather.
Yeah.
And I get
Weather Underground is way
further days. I get more days out. There is a subscription option that I did pay for that's not that bad.
I did not pay for the subscription.
I hate ads. They make me violently angry.
That's fair.
And I like because of my migraines are triggered by weather.
Yeah.
Being able to plan 10 days out, because I can start. I have one right now, and I know it's because of what's coming next week. Like, it's literally, I can be 7 days in advance of something coming in.
Yeah.
So
see, exactly.
For me, it's a necessity that I am able to determine what the hell the weather's going to be.
I have been using Wonderground since 2004, when all I could do was log on to the family PC and they're my kids' grandparents, so I call them grandma and grandpa now. My parents' family room, and like consistently for the last 25 years, it has been good.
Yep.
100% recommended without any kind of concern.
Caveat.
The other one that I use as a professional mariner now is called Windy, WINDY. Windy.com has the best offshore weather forecasting of anywhere, but it's good onshore as well. And if you live anywhere near the coast, I recommend Windy over just about anything else because of their offshore capabilities and the way that offshore weather affects those of us here on the coast. Windy is freaking amazing. It can do waves, it can do precipitation, it has very accurate radar. Within a 2-hour windows, you can see how things are moving right now, and its forecasting is fantastic. So Windy, Wonderground, those are the weather apps that I use, and I'm tracking like actively to make sure that everything that I have is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so other things that I have been struggling with this year with the heavy winds, my freaking tombstones.
Yeah.
So I have, I'm going to say, an eclectic collection of tombstones.
It's a good way of putting it.
Thank you. I have ones that I have bought. I have ones that I have made. I have ones that other people made and I have been given. And the construction on all of these is a little bit different. And the way they mount to the ground is a little bit different. So I want to talk about some of those different mountings because some have been better than others. The tombstones that I made myself, I made out of 2-inch foam board insulation, the pink foam you get from Home Depot. And after I make it, I flip it over upside down, and I drill holes using I think I use a 1-inch bit. A larger bit, or maybe a 7/8 bit, and just drill straight down into the foam, usually like 6 inches, right? A fair way in. It is incredibly important you do that straight, because if you do not do that straight, your bit's going to come out of the tombstone somewhere.
Very rapidly.
Very rapidly. But then I use either PVC or a wooden dowel, hammer that into the ground, and then slip the tombstone over it. I've seen some people go take that a step further and actually will cement a piece of pipe inside those holes to give them something a little bit more rigid that they can then slip over rebar or, again, dowels in the ground. And those have held up fantastic. They have not moved a bit. For some of my store-bought tombstones, and for some of the, like, I'm going to say flimsier tombstones that I have out there, I took a piece of rebar, pounded the piece of rebar into the ground. And like, if you go to Home Depot, they will sell you section 1 foot pieces of rebar. So you don't have to cut them or anything. They're over by where you get cement. They're ready to go. Just hammer those into the ground 6 inches. And then I take a zip tie and actually zip tie the freaking tombstone to the rebar. Those ain't going anywhere. They have been fantastic. And even for like my larger tombstone. So I have a cross that I got from somebody made of foam, and it's as tall as I am. It is a 5 foot tall Celtic cross. I adore this thing. It is wonderful. That one, I actually used a freaking, what are those called, Leslie? The green metal fence post, T-posts. I used a green metal T-post, pounded that into the ground, 6 inches. And then it's, 4 feet tall that I can strap this thing to, and it holds it up beautifully. Now, I've got a bunch of...
So a lot of what I'm hearing is...
Lots of pounding.
Lots of pounding of,
there's lots of pounding in my tombstones.
There's lots of wood pounding involved.
Pound that wood.
John's not here, so I have to make the dirty jokes. Also, sleep deprivation does not help my brain with that.
Now, I got a set of tombstones that another haunter had made when they retired from haunting. And I love these tombstones. They're beautifully made, beautifully carved, and they used the speckled spray paint that's supposed to look kind of like stone to cover the foam, and they look really good. I love the way that they look. The way that they mounted them was by taking a piece of wood, like a 1x3 or so, and putting some spray foam insulation on top of the 1x3, putting the tombstone on top of that. So it's using the spray foam insulation like an adhesive as a glue to glue it to the wood, and then putting 2 screws through the bottom of that wood into the tombstone. And we're talking like probably 2-inch screws sticking up into the tombstone just to hold it nice and tight while the spray foam actually solidifies, glues it, right? And then drilled a 1/2-inch hole on either side of that piece of wood, and then used big nails, like stake-sized nails, to drive it into the ground. Okay. It looks great. You can't really see the nails or the wood that's holding there, especially because I let my grass grow a little bit long in October to, hide things. Like this, for instance. So they look great. But what I'm finding is the wind rocks those tombstones back and forth until the point that it breaks free of the spray foam adhesive, and then they go flying off. So I have had to rescue a few tombstones from the hill and, going down to the Sanguine Creek.
That's a single post?
Post?
Single point of contact with the ground.
2, because you've got a nail on either side, because the wood is a little bit longer than the tombstone. So 2 nails going down, the wood does not move. The tombstone moves on top of the wood.
Okay.
And then it breaks free of the wood and goes flying off. So Leslie looks confused. And if Leslie's confused, there are probably others of you who are confused as well. So I may try explaining this again.
Tombstone. Spray foam.
Wait. Here. Tombstone.
Okay.
Spray foam the bottom of the tombstone. Stick a piece of wood on it that is longer than the width of the tombstone.
Okay. That's why.
Nail on either
Yeah,
side of
on
the piece of wood
That's why.
that's holding it. And now the tombstone is able to
Because
just
you
rock
have no.
on the piece of wood.
I thought you were talking about it being like this.
No, she was thinking the wood was vertical. No, the wood is horizontal along the bottom of the tombstone.
That's why.
Yeah.
Spray foam has flexibility to it. That's one of the points of it. So
Flexibility. Look, the wind is causing my spray. And what happens? There it goes.
it goes away.
There it goes. This
So-
is definitely getting posted to Instagram.
What? I'm having this image of Haas and his, what was it? His Z
Right hand rule. Yeah, the right hand rule.
rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
never
an
got
engineer.
that. Never got that. I miss Haas. He's amazing. Okay.
Direction of the current. Curl in the direction of the magnetic field
Yeah.
lines. This is the induced current. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wire, field lines, induced current. Anyway.
I draw things on paper.
You draw things on paper. It's fine. So my point is, while I love the way that these tombstones look when they're sitting in my graveyard, they need something vertical to keep them from torquing in the wind. Whether that's a piece of rebar or pipe, something has to go up through the middle of them to keep them from torquing. The ones that have that have stood up to the wind very well. The ones that do not have not.
which
And
is
so I've been chasing a lot of them.
Physics 101.
It is, in fact, Physics 101.
Object at motion will stay in motion. Object at rest will stay at rest until force is applied.
I was
Force is
just gonna
applied
say
in
it's
one
a torque.
direction. Well, torque is the other piece of it.
Force
is
applied
applied.
at distance off of the pivot point, that's a torque.
Yeah.
And when
And
you
you
torque
have a
something, it
long-
will break.
Well, and you have a long pivot point with a slightly flexible material.
That's it. And what is the torque? It is a force at a distance. The greater the distance, the greater the torque. Directly proportional.
And John's not here to be impressed by our math. Sad now.
Poor John.
Not just is he missing math, he's missing physics math.
So yes, that tombstones and the wind. That's all I have to say about that. Back to the rain for a moment. I have electrical cords running freaking everywhere. What does electricity not like to operate in? Or
Well,
I take it back.
to.
It
It's
likes
just
it a
hazardous.
little too much.
Yeah,
It likes it way too much.
likes it too much.
Yeah,
Water. Electricity and water. Hazard.
Electricity and water get along
Hazard.
far too well.
Insurance liability.
There's that. That's not even where I was going with this, because your house probably has something installed in it to prevent that from becoming a hazard, not a circuit breaker.
Well, okay.
What is it? You have it in your bathroom. You have it in your kitchen. You have it in
GCFIs.
GFCI, ground fault
GFCIs.
circuit interrupt, ground fault circuit interrupter. And the way a GFCI works is it measures, like actively, constantly, it is measuring the current that is going out through the hot and coming back on the neutral. So the two prongs of your plug. If ever, though the current is different on those two leads, it will open and cut off current from going. So when water gets inside one of my plugs way out in the yard, it senses that current is going elsewhere and it opens, shutting off power to everything. And because my house is set up stupid electrically, the only place that I have outlets are 1 in the garage, 2 around the back of the house in the laundry room, and that's it. That is the only places I have freaking outlets that I can access from the outside, which is a constant source of frustration for me.
That's really
There
useless.
is 1 exterior outlet on the house. It's on the 2nd story by the kitchen door. So I have a 2-story deck on the back. Right there, the door that goes into the kitchen. That is the only exterior freaking plug on anywhere on the house. And I haven't fixed this yet because I hate trenching. Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty useless.
It is incredibly frustrating for someone who loves to decorate outdoors.
Well,
So-
and is an actual
and is an
Engineer.
electrical engineer. We don't talk about that part. Anyway, so the GFCI does its job. It does its job well. Couple of thoughts for people to be successful with their haunting. One, know where your GFCIs are and which outlets they serve. Because if you don't, when the power goes out, you're going to spend an awful lot of time trying to figure out where it is. And let me tell you, the GFCI for my garage is it's at least in the garage, but it's all the way in the back of the garage, off in a corner in the last place I would think to look. The GFCI for my kitchen is on the circuit breaker panel because the GFCI is actually a piece of the circuit breaker.
See, they can still be attached to circuit breakers.
They can, but
I'm not.
yes, they
Wasn't
can.
completely wrong.
You're not completely wrong. But it is a GFCI, not an AFCI or anything. Yeah. So my point is know where your GFCIs are. And when you are putting things outside, when you're plugging any electrical into any, when you are powering your exterior props, lights, etc., make sure you're plugging them into a GFCI for safety so that people don't get shocked if they fill up with water when it's raining, for instance.
Yeah. Well, and again, even if your GFCIs trip, turn everything off, you also still risk damaging whatever you're plugged into.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
knowing what is and is not waterproof or water resistant, and the two are not the same thing, is important.
And that actually leads me to my next point, which is your expensive props or projectors, electronics, things that don't like to get wet, but add to your haunt so much. What do you do with them when the weather goes bad? Well, again, you have a couple of options. And it's either
let them turn into a light show of explosions and sparks.
That is one option.
That is an option. It's not a good option.
It's not a great option. I don't recommend the option, but it's an option. What was that saying you used to like less? Any machine is a smoke machine if you use it wrong enough.
Yes. Any machine is a smoke machine if you're not using it properly.
Don't do that. This goes back to, but like the way I treat my expensive props, my projectors, is the same way I treat anything else. It needs to be able to either withstand the weather or I have to bring it inside.
Easily.
Exactly. So like every
one plug, pick up, move.
Yes, 100%. Take my singing jack-o'-lanterns setup, for instance. I have the jack-o'-lanterns arranged on a hay bale. I have a projector that sits on the ground with a sound bar right next to it. And there's an extension cord with a 3-way outlet sitting right there so I can plug in the sound bar. I can plug in the projector. The sound bar is already connected to the projector to get sound to the sound bar. And all of that sits underneath just a foam case that I made to block the light from the viewers, right? And so if in the middle of the show, the weather turns bad, it's just unplug 2 plugs, pick it up, go.
Yeah.
And I have that in a couple spots around. I have another one inside the crypt, same setup. I take that back. It's a little bit different setup because of how far the crypt is from the audience. So I actually have an amplifier with speakers running all the way out into the graveyard. But guess where my amplifier is?
Easily moved into safe locations.
Actually, I put that one inside a waterproof cooler. Because if the cooler can keep water and ice in, it's going to keep rain out.
Generally speaking, yes.
So I cut a hole on either side and cemented in a piece of PVC 90-degree bend so that the hole is pointing down, which makes it very difficult for water to go up it and get inside. And that keeps my amplifier nice and safe. So then all I have to do if I need to grab my projector is unplug the audio cable, unplug the power cable, and it goes with me. Quick and easy. Everything else I can deal with after the storm.
Yep.
The pumpkins. Oh my God, the pumpkins. The pumpkins have been blowing. And you know what makes a blowing pumpkin very frustrating?
They're round and like balloons?
They're round and roll. So they go far. especially when I live on a bloody hill.
Yeah, your only benefit is the fact that you have very, very, very dense vegetation
Very
around
dense
most
vegetation.
of
So
the
I can at least, like,
edge.
the vegetation mostly catches them.
vegetation dense enough to hide a friggin' pumpkin.
Accurate.
Large pumpkin.
Oh my God, Les. Our on-purpose pumpkin is like 17 inches across.
Dang.
That's
awesome.
So little background for everyone else. We planted pumpkin seeds this year and did not think we were going to get any pumpkins out of it until one day my wife was just outside and saw a flash of orange underneath a pine tree. And damn if there wasn't a giant freaking pumpkin growing underneath this pine tree next to what we thought was the pumpkin patch that had been taken over by raspberries. So we got one good pumpkin out of that. That's our on-purpose pumpkin. And then, totally unbeknownst to anyone, another pumpkin plant randomly sprouted in a garden on the other side of the property, like a flower bed on the other side of the property. And now that we have a pumpkin, this is the accidental pumpkin. Now that we have the accidental pumpkin that has grown to a point that we can tell, like, it's a decorative pumpkin with the like green and light green striping on it. So what we think happened is we had like a decorative ornamental pumpkin that rotted, some kind of squash that rotted in that flower patch last year, and it just grew itself. Like, it just naturally did its thing.
Which pumpkins do. They're not as bad as zucchini, but they're close.
We actually wondered for a while if like the dog hadn't eaten pumpkin or something and then pooped out seeds there. Also a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a on-purpose pumpkin and an accidental pumpkin, and honestly, it makes me kind of happy.
And we love them both equally.
We love them both equally.
I'm not allowed unsupervised on the internet today.
I love you, Les. So, you know what we haven't done? We never took a break. We never took a commercial break. So before we wrap up, let's take a moment, hear from our sponsors, and then we'll just finish out this episode and call it a night.
I think that's a safe plan, relatively speaking. And on that note, thank you to our sponsors. We love you very, very much. And we're hoping that you're enjoying all of the absurdity as we get into the weeds of Halloween and haunting. So we are back to wrap up how to weatherproof your haunt.
Indeed. So we've talked about rain. We've talked about wind. Those are the two that are the biggest problem for me here in Maryland. There are lots of other parts of the country, though, that deal with other kinds of weather patterns. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't at least mention some of the struggles we've had in the past with snow.
Yeah. So
we grew up in Colorado. Snow is a very real possibility on Halloween. Many a Halloween costume were ruined by my parents forcing me to wear a puffy coat on Halloween while trick-or-treating. And to this day, I am angry about it.
Yep. Mine were designed... I lived in Idaho, which is
even more so.
We did not quite have the chance of warm that we have here in Colorado.
Yeah.
And the rule for my Halloween costumes was always you have to either incorporate a puffy coat into it or it has to go over a puffy coat. So everything is dependent upon the puffy coat rule.
Yeah, there were many a year where, like, I remember it snowing on Halloween and I was outside before Halloween kicked off, either raking my open graves so that you could at least see the dirt underneath, shoveling the sidewalks, salting the sidewalks and the driveway, making sure there are no slick surfaces for trick-or-treaters to slip on ahead of trick-or-treating kicking off.
Yep.
Extra lighting, usually less of a problem when it's snowy because the snow itself does a very good job of reflecting whatever light there is.
The albedo function.
Exactly. The albedo is very high. And so lighting, at least people could see where they were going despite the bad weather. Snow is heavy.
Can be.
It can be. And that's fair. In Colorado in particular, fall snow tends to be lighter, not always, but tends to be. And the spring snows tend to be like that really dense, wet, heavy snow. Great for building snowmen. Terrible
Not great for anything else.
Terrible for having to shovel it, right? But the falls were usually the more powdery snow. How do I clear snow very quickly? If it's powdery,
snowblower, or not snowblower, leaf blower.
Leaf blower. If it's powdery, leaf blower does a great job. If it's heavy,
get a shovel and stretch your back.
If you have a snowblower, you're a lucky one.
Well, even then, I mean, Colorado gets some snows that they're not slow.
Snowblower can't even do it.
We have a snowblower.
Yeah.
And a snowblower will not cut the mustard on those.
Yeah. Totally.
Because it's heavy, it's dense, it's wet, and usually when it decides to come down, in
droves.
Inches. And all of a sudden you're sitting going, okay, I need to be shoveling and scooping every hour.
Yep. Because if you let it build up,
you're SOL.
You're going to regret it.
Yeah.
And like people who are not native to snowy areas tend not to think about it. You're working hard when you're shoveling snow. And every year people die of heart attacks.
Shoveling snow.
And so how do you avoid that? Well, I love a good shovel that has a pushing handle at the top. So like something you can grab with your whole hand to shove forward. And then it has a handle in the middle of the shaft as well, that helps you pick it up to toss.
Leverage.
The other thing,
watch your back. Because
don't pick up big chunks of heavy snow, break it into smaller pieces. I have dealt with, 18
as we say,
inches,
not as I do.
Exactly. I've dealt with 18 inches of depth, and I will absolutely
put it in
halfway up. Do the first 9 inches,
6 inches, 6 inches,
yeah,
6 inches.
6 inches. Absolutely. Like cut that up into smaller pieces so you're not having to haul the entire 18 inches at once.
The other thing to keep in mind is as you've scooped and if you have outdoor haunt or you're just scooping off your walk so trick-or-treaters can come up, depending on the cold. So Colorado is amazing. We can get 18 inches of very, very, very heavy wet snow. And the next day it can be 60 degrees. And if you scooped, all of your sidewalks are going to be dry. There are many places that do not have that luxury.
Michigan, Chicago,
Boston, upstate Buffalo, New York, Buffalo.
Anywhere around the lakes.
Anywhere around the Great Lake. Yeah, that's a thing.
Alaska.
So with that in mind, you can scoop, but any melting that may happen is going to likely refreeze. Now you have a lovely sheet of black ice, and while that's great if you want to go play hockey and throw your siblings around, not great when you're having people come to your house and walk around. So, salting, having an ice chipper, know the weather for your area, know what the hazards are, and have a plan to manage to keep yourself safe so you can walk around, to keep people who are arriving safe. And also the big thing with cold and with extreme heat, there's a lot and a fair bit of equipment that does not like to run when it gets really hot or really cold. Happily, that's usually listed somewhere in the manual. So look for those numbers.
Operating parameters. They're a thing. I've had my iPhone turn off and completely shut down from being too cold when I was doing a race and it was 10 degrees. And it was in an interior pocket. Like we're not talking like it's sitting out on my, in my hand. Like it was and it's still shut down. Yeah.
And would not turn on until it warmed up.
I left my phone sitting on the car dashboard and it's a black phone. It got super hot and it said, I'm out. Just turned itself off.
I'm dead.
And honestly, I'm glad it turned itself off before it died. Like that's a nice feature. I appreciate that.
Yes. So check your operating manual for, your upper ranges and lower ranges for heat tolerance, etc.
Exactly. Okay. So rain, snow,
wind,
extreme cold. We didn't really talk about
if
extreme
there's
heat.
lightning, please send everybody inside and not inside the tent.
Not
Please
inside
send
the
everybody
metal
away.
tent. Yeah.
Lightning is
Don't
my
mess with
favorite
it.
thing in the world, but it's a hazard.
Don't mess with it. Oh, something else I didn't think about with winds, but we have been dealing with this year, tree branches. I have been fortunate that the tree branches that have failed not above the haunt.
Not over the tent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, I live in a heavily wooded area. This is something that we deal with regularly. I have a chainsaw. I have tools that we use to like chop it up and put it on the firewood pile. No big deal. Like, we deal with this all the time. It's a couple of hours of added labor if you have the tools ready to go. But this is just one more of those situations. Are you ready if it happens, or will it impact your show?
Yep.
Oh, one more thought. So, in years past, I have had problems with our cemetery arch blowing over.
Yes.
And the last set of cemetery arches I built, I wanted it large enough that I could drive our cars underneath it because it was going to be up the whole time. And my 8-foot box trailer, get underneath it as well. So it was 10 feet high and 2 foot square. 2 foot square footprint, 10 feet high. So they were big, which makes them sails again. And so when I first put them up, I put a couple of cinder blocks. I think I put 3 cinder blocks on each side and just left it there. That did not stand up to the wind that I needed it to. So the next time I doubled it. I put 6 cinder blocks on either side. That's a fair amount of weight. We had a bomb cyclone come through and it still fucking blew it over. So this year, when I went to make a new entrance, I did not want to do a cemetery arch the way I had in the past. I shifted to a headboard sign that shows the name of the haunt, and then just did simple brick pillars, foam brick pillars on either side. And I found cool stakes at Home Depot this year that I freaking love. They were made for the 12-foot skeleton. They have like an auger bit on the end to dig down into the ground as you're securing it.
Oh, that's nice.
A nut, or rather a hex head, like a bolt head on the top. Okay. So I used my freaking impact driver to drive these stakes down into the ground.
Nice.
And because I built my pillars with a 2x4 frame on the inside and then covered it with foam board that I carved to look like brick, I can take that back panel off, and I just drilled a hole straight through the 2x4s on the bottom and then put the stakes straight through the 2x4 into the ground. And they have held up phenomenally. I had a 90-pound German Shepherd come and put their paws up on the pillar, and it got some nice scratches from what looks like a monster, which honestly, it's kind of worked. But they did not go anywhere, and I loved it.
Excellent.
Okay. I think that is really all we want to talk about, weatherproofing your haunt. If you have other ideas on what you do to get your haunt ready for the weather, please drop it in the comments so that other folks can also learn from what you do to deal with the weather in your area. Because this is a problem that is universal. We're all going to come across it at some point. And the more ideas that we have to deal with those, the better our haunts are going to be down the line.
And the less likely they are to blow off into the next state. Literally. Or in your case, the ocean.
That too.
As much as I love hunting fishes, we do not need to haunt the fishes.
So definitely go check out our social media, facebook.com/hauntingyou, Instagram @hauntinguniversity, and YouTube @hauntingyou, just the letter U. Like I said, drop it in the comments how you deal with weather in your own haunts. Let us know, and we will pass it along to all of our other listeners as well so that they can learn from your experiences. Also, of course, check out our website at hauntingyou.com. That is where you'll find everything having to do with the Haunting You podcast, including the Haunting You method, the Hunter's Ghoul box, where we have a collection of links and tools and episodes that will help you all along the way as you're planning your haunt, and the events calendar that talks about all of the events that we track and are aware of, conventions and haunt fests and whatever else it is there on the calendar. Go check it out to find something spooky near you. Les, wrap us up.
Alrighty. Well, hopefully, again, as we're getting into the end of haunt season, for those of you who've been operating since beginning of the month or even into September, I hope your season is going well. For those of you who are still getting ready to open for your one night extravaganza on Halloween, I wish you the absolute best of luck as you come to the end and the finish line. So, keep sharing ideas and keep listening, and happy haunting.
Wait, before you go, what's coming up next, Les?
Ooh, it is our 4th or 5th annual Campfire Stories.
I think 4th.
Okay,
Might
so
be
is it
3rd or 4th?
I think we've
Somewhere in there.
I've done a Telltale Heart, a Q, and this is 4.
I think you're right. I think this is 4.
Yeah. Okay. So we are coming up on our 4th annual Campfire Stories episode. So in honor of Halloween, in honor of all of the wonderful works of literature and poetry that have been created, spooky and scary stories, each of us picks our favorite for the year, and we go ahead and read it for your enjoyment. So that is coming up, and we've got some fun ones.
Yeah, we're very excited about the selections we have for this year. In fact, I'm going to let you know a little behind the scenes secret. We're going to record them the moment we finish recording this episode. So let's get on that because it's already 10:30 and I want to go to bed.
Yep.
So, as Leslie said, from all of us here at Haunting You, best of luck on your haunts and happy haunting.
Hi, everybody.
Nice. We are incredibly grateful to all the sponsors who make this show possible, especially our premium sponsors, the Chamber of Haunters and VFX. You can learn more about our premium sponsors by checking out their websites at chamberofhaunters.com and vfxcreates.com. Check out our website at hauntingyou.com for more information on everything that we do. Haunting You can be reached via Facebook at facebook.com/hauntingyou with just the letter U, or on Instagram under the handle @hauntinguniversity, and YouTube under the handle @hauntingyou. Haunting You is a production of Sanguine Creek Entertainment. All audio clips and sound effects are used under a Creative Commons Attribution or Public Domain license from Purple Planet Music at purple-planet.com or the Sound Bible at soundbible.com. Please see the show notes for more information on all the clips used in this episode.
Coming to you live from the Chamber of Haunting.
Chamber of Haunting.
Chamber of Haunting, yes.
This is, in fact, a
The
Chamber of Haunting.
Yes, it is. All right.